the dark where the strange things flicker, Jennifer Hicks takes you in a little deeper.
Cryptids, UFOs, stories that chill, the truth's out there, and she's got the thrill. Welcome to creepy culture, where the unknown comes alive.
Hey everybody, welcome to Creepy Culture. It's Jen, and today I got Matt from the Drunken Cryptids. Hey Matt, what's up?
Hey, good morning. Well, good afternoon. Yes, afternoon. Now,
Afternoon. We're both time warped. We both went on adventures over the weekend.
Yes.
So we're both tired and time warped. I know I am. I lost in just 1 hour. Time difference will mess you up.
It definitely will. Yeah, we did the we were at the sleeper mortuary investigating when we had to spring forward, and it threw me off that morning. I was just like, what? I mean, lost an hour and then all the way back, and I haven't recovered from that. It's been nonstop ever since for me.
Me too.
Actually, it's been nonstop for the past couple of months. You know, researching in the woods. I mean, it's been nonstop. Go.
I'm not a researcher, but I sure went to the LBL, the Land Between the Lakes, with and met up with Tricia from Monsters Unleashed and Andy and Crystal. And we had fun for the weekend. I don't mind hanging out while they're researching, but we were more on chill mode. But, you know, of course, we ran into stuff down there because I think it's impossible to go there and not run into something. So,
well, normally when you're in chill mode, that's when you get a lot of the activity. That's where you get a lot of, you know, the encounters and such. You know, like we were on Saturday night out in our research area, though this is my first time being up there, so I was, you know, real curious about the area. But they built a fire and they had people gathering around and they were visiting and talking, and we were getting whoops, we were getting noises. So the one gal, she goes, dude, just shut up. I was like, let them talk. I said, because 90% of your encounters are due to people doing what they're doing right there. So with us sitting outside the fire, away from them, we're able to catch and see if something's going to be coming into the area. And they were coming in. You could hear them doing shrills, a little chattering, really good whoops. And it was really a magical area, to be honest with you. Like, as soon as we pulled in, they started whooping. Like they're like going, hey, they're here. So
I need to calm down, calling the LBL. I'm always like, it's so weird in there. It is weird, but actually, magical is the word, because I mean, you just sit there and Bigfoots are nosy. I don't know about Dogman so much, but they're nosy. You're right. You could just sit there and be chilling and they'll come in on you. So we're in a whole campground with people riding horses and everything, and here they come. You know, so
that was us. I mean, we had a ton of activity at the campground that we were staying at. To where Friday, me and JD from Trim the Spirits, you know, we were the first ones there from my team to arrive. And we set the tents up and we got everything put in place. And we walked around and met some, you know, linked up with, you know, the guys that we're supposed to be doing, you know, going out with and stuff. And ran into the group that, yeah, we went, you know, just hiking around, take a look and see. And we found tracks. I was like, what? They're like, yeah, we found tracks just right outside the camp. Told us where. So me and JD loaded, you know, wrecked up and walked out. Sure enough, we found their tracks, and it was, crazy. Thought I saw something move, then we found it looked like a trackway where it moved, and kind of lazily, like it drug his foot. But the size of the impression in the ground, though, was probably about a good 14-inch track. So, you know, and the people that had been out there, you know, I even asked them, what size shoe do you wear? Well, I'm in a 10, and she was like, I'm in a 6. I was like, that's definitely not y'all. So
definitely not. Nobody be out there barefoot anyway. So
no, not at all. So was it quiet? Was it quiet where you guys were at? What, like low, no, you know, little to no insect sounds and, you know, birds and stuff as well?
There were frogs because there was a creek bed behind our cabin. There were frogs, and quite honestly, I saw one squirrel in the campground while we were there. And I also noticed that everywhere else we went, there were no critters. I didn't see bunnies hopping, any more squirrel. I saw a lizard on a log on the side of the road, but the woods are quiet except for occasional bird chirps everywhere we went. We were all over the LBL, but I don't know if it's because they were doing a controlled burn in some areas and maybe that kept the critters down, but I didn't see anything. And at the campground, aside from that squirrel and a snake, there was, and bird chirping and frogs at nighttime. I accidentally stepped on a frog and it snapped like bubble wrap, and I'm like traumatized by it.
No.
I know. I feel so
No,
bad.
no. Well, the reason why I'm asking is because for us, same thing. The campground was quiet. I mean, there was like no birds, no insects, nothing. Not 90-degree weather. And I think that with the heat wave that we had for this weekend, that's the reason why it was quiet.
It was hot there too.
I think nature, they're like, whoa, hold on, this isn't right. Because normally, the weather right now is how it currently normally supposed to be. Low 60s, high 50s, stuff like that. So today's weather is, atypical for, Arkansas. And so it's going to be that way. So I think that's the reason why over the weekend, everywhere we went, and even the campground was just quiet, except for we ran into a pond that had frogs. Yeah. And they were happy and just being happy little frogs, doing their little frog world. And as we were, right there, all of a sudden, there was a weird noise. I looked at JD and I was like, it's about to get quiet. And sure enough, in a matter of seconds, every frog just went, shut up. And it got quiet for about 30 seconds. And then they slowly started back up again.
That's what they did there too. You could hear them. And then they would just shut up. And every time they shut up, I had a flashlight in the thermal. Creepy, because there was woods behind the cabin. So I didn't ever see anything, but something came up and slapped the cabin while we were there. And the perimeter alarm went off right after that. And I'm telling you, we were just so asleep. We didn't even care. We were like, oh, well.
Yep, the same thing. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning after we got back. We were sitting around the fire just snacking. Because, you burn a lot of calories when you're out there. And JD had gotten up to go to the bathroom. So it's just me and Jacob and Larry. And all of a sudden, from the river, we heard this. It went like classic Sierra sound noise. And Larry goes, was that your stomach? And I went, no, dude, that came from the river. That's right behind you. And he was like, what? And I said, yeah. And then right about that time is when JD was walking back, and Larry was explaining what we heard. And JD goes, well, I'll get my recorder out. I'll start recording. He's like, yeah, do that so we can have it all night. I'm going to bed. And Larry was like, you're doing what? I said, yeah, I'm going to bed. I mean, so laying there in my tent, I could hear, small little whoops, little louder whoops, some chattering back and forth. And it was, to me, it was really cool. So I went to sleep with Bigfoot chattering around me, just happy as can be. On the one video that I posted with the whoops going off, I'm like a kid in a candy store when this happens. I really am. I live for this. I love doing it.
I always said I'm not a researcher, but I sure enjoy going out, finding stuff. It's really cool.
Well, that's a researcher. Even if you don't leave the cabin, you're still out there in the woods and you're still actually having the encounters and you're having the experience. So that is a researcher.
I guess it is.
We've gotten in our head that researchers are these guys that load up backpacks and they're going all the way out there and they got all these cameras and everything. And just going out and taking a walk and spending some time in nature, that's researching. I mean, you're researching, you're researching your trail. You're researching the area that you're in. So I highly encourage everybody to go out there, go research, go hiking, go be part of nature. We're missing that part.
The LBL's got a lot of history in it too. I went to this one house. It was the last guy to leave there when they ordered everybody out, and he didn't leave. And his house is still there, so that was really cool. And you just find stuff. Like we got a Bigfoot yell at us while we were there. It's pretty cool. We'll share that. I'm going to make a video about it. We just have stuff we have to put together, audio and stuff.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt. People don't realize how much work goes into it.
Trisha's doing it, thankfully, because I have no clue how to do that. So thankfully she's going to take the time to do that and put it together, because it would be a mess if I did it. A whole mess.
That's what I have Tommy for.
Yeah, Trisha's great at it. So I'm glad for that. And we'll make a video about it. But I'm going to go watch yours too. I want to see. I didn't even know you uploaded any. I didn't get a notification.
Yeah. I uploaded on. I did 3 shorts that I posted on my YouTube channel. Let's see here. I can. Where is my? Wait, this is Sleeper. Hang on a second. Last night I interviewed Miss Tori, who's the owner of the Sleeper mortuary. Let's see here. Can I jump back over here? Here, I'm gonna share my screen. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Show everybody where we were at. Let's see here. Ozark. Share. Is it sharing?
I got to turn it on. Sorry.
Oh, okay. There we go. Okay. So this is a really unique video right here. We found a type of glyph on Friday night, and I'll play it for you. And you can see, I'll play a little bit of it so everybody can see how it looks like they laid these sticks on the ground. And I had never really seen this before. Okay, I'm recording it now. So we found this lovely stick set up here, which keep your light on because I'm using your light. So, yeah, I mean, sticks are broken. This has got like Blair Witch feel to it. And then we've got a pile of rocks just randomly. There's no other rocks anywhere. Do you see any? And we've got Tommy with us from West Memphis. Hi, Tommy. Hi. So, I mean, you can see how the sticks were, I mean, they were broken in pieces to form this shape, design, or whatever you want to call it. So, and then this is the, here's one of the tracks that we found first day Friday. And now we're a 9.5. But what's, you know, everybody wants to try and get the, you know, you can see part of the toes right in here. Mm-hmm. How, you know, how the arch. So, you know, I put my, it looked like a left foot. So I put my left foot down there with it and how it built up. And that sand was really super soft. So as soon as you step into it, I mean, it's just like caving in on itself. And that's the reason why it does that. And because everybody wants to know how come you don't always get the typical Class A. Yeah, this is the river that was by the campground that we were getting the noises from. Let's see here. And that was JD over there. This is our first day investigating. But this is me and part of the group at the chapel area. And this is where I catch a whoop, but I don't know if we'll be able to hear it or not because it's so quiet. That was a whoop.
I barely heard it.
And just see how grinning I am.
You enjoy it. It makes you happy. That's cool.
So Dave, aka Sasquatch guy, he was filming me too. So we started filming each other, waving at each other. But you can hear just how quiet it was out there in those woods, you know?
Yep.
So, and I mean, it was, I'm trying to see any other good
That's
pictures.
funny you said that because the video we caught that yell on, I said that exact thing right before it yelled. I said, listen how quiet. And then it yelled. So.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it was, and looking back now, because of course when you're first there, you're not thinking the weather's going to create the issue, but you're like, why is everything so quiet? But everywhere we went was quiet. And so the longer we were there, the more I was thinking it had to do with the weather. And that's the reason why everything got absolutely quiet, silent for us.
It was quiet.
Except for the pond where the frogs were at. That was, you could definitely tell there was something was in the area.
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't, well, I can't say wasn't supposed to be there, but definitely in the area. So, but oh yeah, a lot of fun. So not only do I get a chance to podcast, but I get a chance to research, and I do more than Bigfoot. I handle, I do a lot of paranormal as well. I've had a ton of paranormal encounters in science my whole entire life. So, yep. But I mean, Bigfoot is near and dear to my heart. He's my favorite, or she, my favorite cryptid out there. And I am lucky enough to live in an area that has a ton of activity and a ton of sightings. So I'm able to jump in there and research it. And, like I was supposed to actually have a weekend off next weekend and enjoy like a weekend at home and relax. Instead, I got hit yesterday with a chance to go check out this guy's about 10 acres, and he's having a ton of activity out there, and reached out, wanted me to come and research, investigate it with him. He wants to show me some of the where he's had it at, tracks and stuff like that he has on the property. So, but oh yeah, but I do, I run a podcast called the Drunken Cryptids. So I'm on all your streaming platforms. See behind me on the screen. Yeah, it's so weird. I'm normally the one that does the interview. So y'all get a chance to hear me ramble on. My love for Bigfoot, I guess, started when I was a kid. I grew up in northern Utah on the Wasatch Front and the Uinta Mountains. So everybody in the family was pretty much pro Bigfoot, knowing that Bigfoot exists, knowing that there's a creature out there. My mom had a great encounter when I was a kid. My stepdad had an encounter to where I paced them out at this lake called Hellhole Lake. It's up in the Uintas, to where he told me him and his buddy Mike actually got down on their hands and knees, was looking through the brush to see if they could see feet, because they couldn't see what was around them. But they said for about a mile walking them out, it was quiet, except for the footsteps on both sides of the trail. So I grew up with it. Had a crazy encounter in 2002 in Fort Hood. Was pulling, I was the NCOIC of a guard detail guarding an ammunition holding area, AHA, AHA. So I refer to as the AHA story, to where I've had that night, me and my guards were stalked by creature or creatures, to where it, started off innocent enough. One of my soldiers said they had heard a distinct thunk sound. And this is in August of 2002. They heard a distinct thunk sound. It sounded like a half-filled canteen with water. When it hits the ground, it makes a distinct thunk. And I blew it off. I was like, you guys heard something else coming down the road, echo, whatever, not even remotely think anything cryptid or paranormal. It's all just, we're on guard duty. Humvee shows up to unload spent brass and links and pick up more ammo, sign for it. And I was using a green glow stick. We call them chem lights, that you crack it, shake it, and they glow, right? They have different colors. You can go buy them at Walmart. Back in 2002, I mean, the Army had, we had them in the Army. We had IR ones, yellow, green, whatever. So I had a green one I was using by my the camo net where we were set up at. I left it there by my book and my Pringles. And the chem light disappeared while the guys were there in the Humvee, and the Humvee driver, and they give me a box. I mean, it was kind of a weird, interesting thing, to where the rest of the evening I fully expected to see my chem light bobbing through the wood line, to be honest with you. Like, a coyote or something that had it. Let me back up real quick. So that morning, though, when we got there and I was relieving the guy, the other NCO I see from the night before, he looked exhausted, like he hadn't slept. Like he'd been up all night. And this is an easy guard duty. I mean, you sleep. I mean, it's, you just have to be there for 24 hours. So it's not hard. So but I was like, man, did you not sleep last night? And he goes, no. And we had coyotes kept coming in. And I was like, no, fuck. Coyotes do follow soldiers out in the field. I mean, soldiers leave trash. They leave, half-eaten MREs. They don't bury it right, throw it away right, at all. They, out in the training field, kind of later. The coyotes know where their soldiers is going to be food. We know why not. They'll exploit it, take care of it, have a good time with it. So my two kids, all excited. I'll call them Daniel Boone and David Crockett for the story. They you know, talking, yeah, I've been visiting, having a good time. They weren't my soldiers. They were in another platoon that was in my company. And they just happened to be unlucky enough to get stuck with guard duty on a Saturday with, Sergeant Orton. So by about noon, though, I was hungry and I didn't want to eat MREs. And it was payday. So I had just gotten paid, had cash in my pocket, my wallet. And I was like, all right, who wants to drive out down the Burger King on main post and bring back some Whoppers? And one kid goes, oh, I'll drive, son. I'll drive. All right, here you go. Here's $20. He goes into town. He comes back, and he has $20 worth of Whoppers. Now, in 2002, that was a lot of Whoppers.
Right.
2002, $20 worth of Whoppers was a lot of Whoppers. So I'm kind of disappointed that he didn't bring me my change back. And the change I did get back wasn't nowhere near enough because we had a bag full of Whoppers. So we snack on Whoppers, relax, and the guys are like, hey, Sergeant, the leftover Whoppers, can we go make traps for the coyotes? I'm like, sure. One of the most creative and dangerous animals in the wild is honestly a very bored infantry soldier. And they get creative and they get imaginative and they want to, they're going to make stuff. Of course, I knew these, traps weren't going to work. I knew what they were trying to do, having fun, so why not? So they step outside the perimeter. They get away from where the ammunition's at and they set up 3 traps. I'm going to take 3 Whoppers, set up 3 traps. So the day goes on, the night happens. We hear the thunk sound. I hear an echo of something that could have been, coming off of the hard road, and we're talking about it. Humvee shows up from the range. They're swapping the ammo out because the Bradleys were doing a Table 8 qualification gunnery. So they're not supposed to press and boom, 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 shooting targets and stuff. So Humvee left. We had a box full of, chem lights, and the guys are kind of edgy. Because, we'd noticed certain areas would get real quiet. Again, it's August in Fort Hood, hot, and the insects and everything out there just going crazy. If you've been in Central Texas in the summertime, you get at night, you know how loud it gets. So, but when it gets quiet is when you definitely know. One side would be quiet, one side would be loud. Behind us would get quiet, the front would be loud. I mean, it's just all over the place. So I decided I'm going to take the chem lights and I want to mark the perimeter of the ammunition area because I'm thinking at this point in time that maybe there's another unit out there training. Maybe they think that we're the Op 4, i.e. the bad guys, or we're the Blue 4, i.e. the good guys. And they're going to assault us or they're going to do something. So I'm trying to do what I can to deter that for them to realize that we're not playing the game and there's nobody supposed to be there that we know of training, just us on guard because the ranges are all up and down the hardball out there. So, but in my mind, it was a unit at this time out there training. So I go and I start marking. I mark the first picket of the concertina wire where the ammunition was at, and I walk along it. And Daniel Boone and David Crockett are behind me, and I get the second one, and I crack it and I shake it, and I mark it. As I turn the corner to go to the third post, all this happened simultaneously. I heard the thunk. And it was a distinct sound. It was unique. It was a canteen half filled with water dropping on concrete. There's no concrete where we were at, and there's nobody else where we were at to have made this noise. Same time I hear the thunk, though, I step into a cold spot. And I know it's a cold spot because I saw my breath in my flashlight. So again, August 2002, 90 degrees outside. I should not be stepping into a cold spot that's going to show my breath. So as I try and back into it, that's when the noise is going off, and these guys are freaking out. They're like, "Did you hear it, Sean? Did you hear? Did you hear? Did you hear it?" I'm like, "Yes, I heard it. I heard it. I heard it." And I'm summarizing all the story for you. So, at this point, okay, now I know for sure there is something out here. Somebody is out here, and I finished marking the ammunition spot. We go back over to the camo net. We're looking, and I'm like, "All right, that's marked. Okay, they know where that's at. They know that we got chem lights up. You're not going to be putting chem lights out if you're trying to be tactical. So we're covered there. We have 3 personal vehicles parked right here beside us on the dirt road. My truck included in there, and each soldier brought his own vehicle. So, you're not going to have POVs out in the field when you're training. So there's no reason why anybody would think that we were, in the game. As we're at the camo net is when to the right, excuse me. Closer to the hardball road is when it got absolutely quiet. I mean, it was Nothing was moving. Nothing was making noise. And I was like, okay, that's where they're at. They're over there. So I moved this out of the camo net, and we had a thicket that ran parallel to the road. There was a dirt berm on the dirt road, and it sloped, started, by where the vehicles were at, and it sloped, ramped up, to probably a good about maybe 6-7 feet up, and then it sloped down on the other side. It was sloped on both sides as well. So on the side close to us, there was a really good Texas thicket. And I pulled this out and I put this beside this thicket. So I knew that nobody was coming through that. So that side of us was covered. And we had that dirt berm. To my left was where the ammunition was at. Straight ahead of me was where the hardball, the main road, everybody comes in. And we call it a hardball road because when we take you don't take track vehicles on there. We put them on tank trails, which is a dirt road. So that, the tracks don't tear up the asphalt. Or the concrete. So I get put out front. Well, I put myself in front, and I'm listening. And again, it's quiet, dead quiet. I can hear the noises behind us, where the thunk came from, but right in front of us and where we were at was silent. And out of nowhere, I just start hearing footsteps, and you could clearly tell it's bipedal. There's like a step, steadily walking towards us. And we're squatted down. Now, again, there's no moon up. There were stars out, but there's no moon. So there's no real illumination. It's black. And when you're out there and you're out away from light pollution and you don't have a flashlight on, it's dark. It's really, really dark. There's a tree line, and I was trying to silhouette whatever was walking towards me against the tree line. So I'm trying to, squat down lower and get lower to the ground to try and peer and make it, the silhouette pop up. The kid that was on my left, and I never mentioned their names, for their privacy. The kid on my left, he kept saying, "Oh crap, oh crap, oh crap." You get the point. It wasn't crap he was saying. So, and I kept elbowing him to shut him up, popping him, I wasn't saying anything, I just kept popping to shut him up. And by my estimate, now it's at night, and everybody, at night sounds everything, but by my estimate, it was about 4 feet in front of me when I turned the flashlight on. It should have been right there. Turned the flashlight on, nothing was in front of me, and immediately to my right in the thicket, something just bolts. So I jump up and I run around the thicket, and this is, of course, 2002. I'm in great shape and I can run. So I run up on top of this dirt berm. As I run up on top, this rock goes flying overhead, big rock. And it lands behind me. There's a boom, boom. When a big rock hits the ground, you hear it, boom, boom. I spin around, and one of the kids is down there at the bottom of the berm, and he's looking up at me, and I rush down there. And again, it's only about a good, 6.5 foot incline, so it don't take me long. And I grab him by the collar, and we're face to face, and all this happens simultaneously as I'm yelling at him, if this is you guys effing with me, I'm going to effing kill you. When I'm being the classic sergeant, in your face guy.
Yep.
And I realize he's crying. And I don't mean just like, no, I mean, he's literally, tears are streaming out of his eyes. As I realize he's scared. He is freaking out. Right behind me in the thick woods, I hear this log just go like something big. Just what a log breaks. How it has that unique crumbles kind of sound. Mm-hmm. So I hear this and I push off of him. I sprint over the dirt berm, and I'm like, "I got you now. You're right behind me. You're right in here." And I've always told everybody in any horror movie situation, I will be the first one dead. Because instead of going, maybe we shouldn't go see what that was, I'm the opposite, going, let's go see what it is. Yeah, I'll tell you a story about this weekend about that. So I got about 10, 15 feet into the woods, and I have my little pin light. Remember, 02, so we don't have the big bright lights that we have now. Typical, simple little mag light, little blue, about pin set, mini ones. For military tactically, they're perfect. So my little mag light on, and it was just dark. It was like just oppressing darkness. Like the light just wasn't doing it, and the light was struggling to penetrate the darkness and trying to bring some illumination in there. And this is where I have like two memories, and it doesn't make sense to me, because I remember me looking at through my eyes straight ahead with the flashlight. Now there's another memory that I have of me looking at me from about the 2 o'clock position, maybe 5-10 feet, looking at myself holding the flashlight. And I mean, that never made sense. Why I would have two perspectives, one of a third person looking at me and me from first person. So I back out of the woods because everything in my body said that I do not need to be there and I need to leave. And I listened. So I backed out, looked, and I felt defeated. I remember that. I remember feeling just completely just beat up. And, I'm summarizing because it's kind of hard to go into, an encounter, of this magnitude to express the full feeling of fear of just defeat. I mean, beat down. I mean, I felt like I had literally had the crap kicked out of me emotionally and spiritually. Looked over at my truck and it was like, boom, there's my answer. And I trotted over to my truck and I started my truck up. I turned my lights on, turned them on bright, lit the whole area up. And I'm like, yeah, I got you now. I'm pretty proud of myself. And I realized, got to turn the lights off, got to turn the truck off. I got to maintain noise and light discipline. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still a soldier. I'm still a non-commissioned officer. This is who I am. I have to. So no. So lit the truck off, turn the lights off. And it was 2002. And a movie had came out in 2001 that took the nation. Everybody loved it. I went and saw the movie theater and everybody started mimicking and copying it. Fast and Furious. Everybody had started putting neons on their vehicles. You remember that? The early 2000s, people were doing that. I was dumb. I did the same thing. I put neons on my hood. So I reached over, turned the switch on for my neons. The light, put a little bit of light out there. And I was like, okay, cool. I got a light now. And I walked over to the camo net where Daniel Boone and David Crockett were pretty much hugging each other and begging to leave. Sorry, we got to leave. Can we leave? Can we leave? Can we leave? Can we leave? And I was like, no, we can't. We can't. First general order of, Garth lives on my post, going post only proper leave. We can't do it. We can't leave. We can't leave. I mean, we can't. I was more afraid of getting in trouble for leaving than what might be attacking us or messing with us. And I remember I looked over, I lit up a cigarette, and I looked over at my truck, and something walked in front of my truck because the neon winked out, like something walked right there. So I dropped my cigarette, and I sprinted there, and I was there in a matter of seconds. I mean, we were maybe 10 feet, 15 feet from the vehicle. Nothing was there. Nothing was running down the dirt road. Nothing had jumped into the wood line. Nothing had crawled into the vehicles. I looked. And at this point in time, the whole area that we were in was just silent. You could hear insects off in the distance. You could hear other things off in the distance. So don't think, I say it was silent. I mean, around us was quiet, but you could hear, other ambient noises that were still going on in the world that would come to us. But right there where we were at was quiet, and it was surreal. So I'm back over, I bent down, picked up my cigarette, and I was like, we gotta stay. And I remember I sat down on the ground. The next thing I remember, the moon came up, and then the next thing I remember is the sun came up. I have no memory after I sat on the ground other than the moon came up at one point, and then the sun came up. And when the sun came up, everybody gets brave and everybody starts coming up with, solutions in the daylight. Everybody does. When the sun's up, hey, the world is good. And I remember sitting there talking to the guys. I was like, you know what? Coyotes. Go check your traps. I'm willing to bet coyotes. The coyotes came in here and got those whoppers. That's what they were doing. And he's like, oh, hey, you're right. I see, yeah, I got it all figured out. Smart guy. So Daniel Boone and David Crockett, they walk over the first trap, and all of a sudden they're jumping up and down. They're waving at me, and I'm walking over all confident. I am 100% confident that I've nailed it. We got coyotes. Coyotes came in here last night, and this is what happened. We were hearing coyotes. And they were jumping up and down to show me that the whopper was untouched. Nothing. No nibble, no movement, nothing. It was out of the wrapper. It was on the ground. It had some bugs on it, but untouched. Same thing with the second one, and same thing with the third one. Not one whopper had been touched that whole entire night. And with coyotes and such and the wildlife out there, they're going to come in and get it. Nothing came into our camp, to our alfalfa at the AHA, and that would eat a whopper. Even Sasquatch didn't take it, or whatever it was. Didn't take it. I have no idea what it was that night that was messing with us. But it was, surreal. Of course, you got to add the missing time in there, which doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, that is the infamous AHA story.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh yeah.
Thank you for keeping talking. I don't know what happened to my internet.
Oh no, you're fine. That's what happens when you run a podcast.
Save.
I saw as I go up, just me. Well, here we go. Let me just start everything in. So, but you know, so so with that story though, so everybody, you know, I put that story in the back of my mind. You know, we went to war. It's 2002. Went to war. You know, for the next couple of years, my life revolved around, you know, the Middle East a lot. And after I got hurt, I came home in 2004, and I had put it completely out of my mind. I had completely pushed it all back. And it was about 2008, I think it was. Me and my ex were laying in bed. We were watching a show, and she had just fallen asleep. When I was watching, it was about Bigfoot, obviously Bigfoot encounters. I used to just soak this stuff up. And they were talking about rocks being thrown at them. And the way they're describing it stuff, and I remember sitting there and I was like, oh, that's kind of, wait a minute. And it all came flooding back. I sat straight up in bed and going, whoa, 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 whoa. That happened to me. And again, at this point in time, you know, with 2008, I mean, who do I tell? I mean, the internet's going on. It's going great still. But I mean, I didn't know who to talk to or who to tell anything about this. So I started trying to do my own research a little bit, you know, here and there, kind of digging into it, pop up. And I shared the story a few times. But actually, the AHA event is how the podcast got started. Was in 2020, when the world was starting to reopen again. A little local bar. I was on furlough, so I had nothing to do. So I go hang out at this little local dive bar every day. And sure enough, you know, one evening in the corner, me and a couple of the guys that, you know, were regulars there as well. We got talking about creepy and paranormal stuff, and I shared the story. And then the next night we kept talking more. So within a few days, the bartender, she goes, Matthew, you should start a podcast. And I went, what's a podcast? No clue what a podcast was. I was seeing those kids on YouTube. They were opening up boxes and stuff. I really did. You know, this never made sense to me why people want. Anyways, so nothing to do with it. Ended up my buddy Jacob, who goes on pretty much 98% of my investigations with me. He said, hey, check the show out. And so I said, Sasquatch Chronicles, and just check it out, listen to it, you know, while you're at work. I was like, all right. And I remember I heard an account, something similar to mine, and I sent an email to Wes Grimmer, and he emailed me back, and we got a phone call going, and we talked for about 45 minutes about, you know, the AHA event and everything, asked me to come on the show. So I did that. And that's kind of how the bug got started. And I wanted to create a show where people were able to come on to and share their encounters without being A, ridiculed, B, made fun of, because a lot of people who've had these encounters, you know, they do struggle with them. They do have a hard time they want to share, but they don't know who to reach out to, and they don't know who to talk to about it. And so it's really important to have shows like these, I think, for people who've had these encounters, so that way they can share them. Prime example, I'd have never thought anything about it if I hadn't been watching that TV series where they were sharing that story. Now, granted, with the rocks were being thrown in the Pacific Northwest, I'm in Texas. So my course, everybody's first thought was, you know, years and years and years ago, Bigfoot's not in the South. They never referred to as Bigfoot in the South. They never won. They called it Woodburgers, a whole bunch of different names, but Woodburgers is my favorite one. So that's why I always use that one. They never referred to as a Bigfoot. They had a different name, and every region in the South had it, you know, called something different. And a lot of times, you know, even within the same state, they'll have 5 different names in that state. Mm-hmm. And that's how a lot of people grew up with, you know, yeah, we don't go in the woods because of the Woodburgers. You don't do this because of that. You don't go because they're in there. And a lot of, you know, so when you start mentioning Bigfoot, they're like, well, no, that's in the Pacific Northwest, until people get those Class A encounters and they're looking at it and they're going, whoa, okay, that's what they're seeing in the Northwest, because it's a worldwide phenomenon, you know. And I believe there's even a sighting in Antarctica. So I don't think there is. I can't see how there could be one in Antarctica, to be honest with you. But on 6 out of 7 continents, it's a worldwide phenomenon.
Definitely is. It's called Ohio Grassman here.
So, did I show you the grass structure?
No, but let me see it.
Yep. Okay. So this was captured. I know we're all over the place. This is my show too, though. I mean,
It's
I
okay.
jump all over the place. Let me get the pictures. Where's that investigation area? Okay.
We're probably ADHD. We just have to go with whatever pops in our head at the time.
Exactly. Okay. So on this folder, I haven't had a chance to get everything else uploaded. Let me jump over here to share. Hang on. Where are we at? Okay. All right. So we found this, in my investigation area a little over a month ago. We found this really, really, really cool. Let's see here. Which one is it? Is it you? Yep. Okay. Really cool grass structure. Jacob's got a really good picture of it. Let's see. Wait, let me zoom. Enable zoom and scroll. I am, yeah. Waiting for permission. What?
I don't have no permission.
Let's see here. Do this. Okay.
You zoomed earlier.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go. I know I did earlier. So there you go. You can see a little bit right. You see the entrance of it. You see how well built it is, how it is in here?
Yeah.
And we just happened to stumble right on that.
That is awesome.
So if it makes you feel any better, this is about 50 meters, maybe 60 meters away from the property owner's house. To the right of the structure, let's see, can I go this way with it? Hang on. Why won't you let me change pictures? Oh, because I only shared this screen. Okay, because I was on this one already. That's why. Hang on, can I close out of it? No. So, but yeah, it's just another picture. But yeah, so right over here to the right of it, though, we found an area. It's where they were the deer were bedding down. Oh wait, let me if I come over here and do it this way. There we go. All right, did it change? Oh yeah, so that's potential track right there that I found up there. Yeah, so here's a slightly different angle of that structure, the grass structure. Since you mentioned Ohio Grassman, because with the Ohio Grassman, they're reporting these kind of things right here.
Yep.
The structures with it. So this was a lot of fun. Yeah, on here too. Let's see if it'll play it for me if I can find the video. So in this video here, I was sitting by myself, and I wanted to give because I have this whole area broken down into areas. So this is our area 2 on their property where we had the most activity at. And I had Jacob over in area 3, which isn't too far. We weren't far away from each other, radio contact. And obviously, when I open it up, you can see we're still in the winter time. So you see it's just wide open. All the foliage is down, so you can see quite a bit of ways. So right here, you can see where they do have a deer feeder here set up. So they do, they enjoy watching the deers and everything. So they have a couple of feeders set up out here in the area. Right over in this area here, though, the summer is where I found the really cool knuckle track I'll share with you. So we found it right here, and then I'll let this play. But again, there should be noises at 3:00 in the afternoon, and you'll hear how silent it is. But I pick up on the microphone as the camera pans back to the left some interesting knock sounds that I did not hear while I was sitting there, and I'll let that play for you. Here. Here.
Heard something.
Yeah.
In my right ear.
Yeah, exactly. It's on the right side. So it came in on the right side, and obviously because that's where we're hearing it on our right ear. I played it for Justin and Jay over Cryptids of the Corn. Justin is Justin's probably the smartest man in every room that he goes into, but he never acts like it, if that makes sense. I mean, he is a full-blown biologist. He's gone, I mean, that's what he went to school for. That's what he wanted to do his whole entire life until he ended up doing what we're doing now. So when I played it for him, he told me, he goes, that sounds like bat echolocation. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, we can't hear it with our ears, but they've recorded it bouncing off of microphones. And it's kind of a high clicking, kind of a popping sound like Rice Krispies. Is my kind of, that's how my kids describe it, the echolocation from bats. That is a deep one. And to where we're wondering whether or not we were picking up infrasound coming in and bouncing off the microphone.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So if echolocation can bounce off a microphone, why can't infrasound?
It would probably.
So, and maybe that's sometimes what we're hearing that we pick up on, that we're writing off sometimes, is those noises.
Probably so.
I love doing
I noticed a lot of stuff. Me too. I love finding out stuff like that. My son did this whole geomagnetic thing. Found hot spots on a thermal map of that. It makes a lot of sense. But I noticed we found a lot of stuff in the daytime.
Mm-hmm.
It's like daytime is popping, believe it or not. And it's not, you don't have to go deep in the woods at all. We didn't. But it was mostly daytime activity for us. Were you having the same thing, like daytime?
Well, so for out there this weekend, it was more nighttime to where I think in the morning at one point the sun had came up and Larry goes, what was that? And I was like, that could have been a bird. Then I made another noise. I went, okay, that's not a bird. And that was about dawn is when that happened. Because again, we just, I went to bed at 2 and was up at 5 that night. So like 3 hours of sleep, woken up Sunday morning. Like today is Tuesday. Yeah, it's Tuesday. I mean, for, when I come back from these things, it takes me a couple of days to recover mentally and physically. But, mainly we were getting the whoops and everything at night. But we were having the trackways though. And at one point, I broke the camera out. I had my phone in my hand, and I caught movement across the river from us on Friday, and they're crossing up the river. So I brought my camera out. My phone got set up. It was like, okay, we just saw movement over there. And I keep it on there for a minute. So I haven't had a chance to review that. Maybe I haven't had time yet, obviously. So me and JD jumped across the river, and we walked in that direction. That's where we found the trackway, where you can see where they had walked and dragged their feet. That I shared earlier. And that was really, really cool.
That is cool. That is way cool. I don't know. We didn't find any trackways or anything, but I'm surprised what we did here in the daytime. It kind of shocked me. I thought, I don't know, for some reason, I thought you would just get way more activity at nighttime, but in that place,
I think it's both. I mean, I think they're active during the day. I don't think they're as active during the day, but they're active. And again, especially down here in the South, because one, it's cooler at night. It's easier for them to move. And, like we had a discussion this weekend about, height and, how big they are. We have this general idea that these creatures are going to be like 8, 9, 10, 11 foot tall and massive. But I think down here in the South, they're not. This track size that I'm averaging, that I've been finding, have been roughly around 14 to 16 inches, in length. It's gonna be about 7 foot, 7, 8 feet. So, I'm thinking down here in the South, we're pushing right around 7 foot as our average for the height. In Ohio, the average height that they report in is 7.25. The further south you go, closer to the equator, the smaller the predators get. The further north you go, the larger they get. Prime example, look at our black bear. Okay, so we have black bear here. And, they'll tear you up. I mean, they're big, but they're not big. Now go look at the grizzly bear. Huge animal. Keep going further north, you get the polar bear. Bigger animal. You look at the deer size, even the deer size here in the South, compared to where I'm from, up, in Utah, up in those mountains, the deer are huge up there. Down here, they're tiny. Up there, they're huge. Same thing. Yeah, there's elk in northwest Arkansas, and they're not there all the time. They migrate in, and then they migrate right back out again. But they're small here. the further north you get, they're huge, and people don't realize how big an elk really is until you're actually up on one, or how big a moose really is until you're on a moose. You can see video footage of moose, on the streets in Alaska. Look how big those things are. That they tower over cars.
They're huge. The first time I saw one, I thought it was a horse.
A lot of people, just like on my show, we had this conversation, so.
I know, it's so bad. It's so embarrassing.
No, don't be embarrassed.
It's all good. That's how big they are. They're like a big, huge horse. That's what they look like.
They're massive. That's why I almost bought a shirt with a Bigfoot riding a moose like a horse. And, to be honest with you, I don't think that's far from the truth. But down here, I think we're going to get about 7 foot, big because of the heat. And on top of that, too, though, again, I think they're more, they use the southern term ornery down here is because of all the fleas and ticks and the humidity.
Ew, yeah, that would make anybody angry. And then you've got Florida. The swamp apes down there, they're like 6 foot. They're saying they're like 6 foot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they're skinny. And they're mangy. They have a mangy look about them. Louisiana, same thing. They're about 6 foot and they're skinny and they're mangy.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Louisiana's a state away from me. I could be in Louisiana in 2.5 hours if I go straight south. So from where I live.
Yep, you're right. And even up in Canada, they're huge. They're like 10 to 12 foot tall. Up there in Alaska, same thing. They're huge in Alaska. So,
and they got to have all those calories. Yep, they got to have all those calories as well. So now there are exceptions to the rule, just like in the human world. They're going to be the shacks of the Sasquatch world. There's going to be big ones. There's going to be. So that's so never. I don't ever want to take that away from anybody who's like the one guy I met this weekend. According to him, he's got a 10-footer on his property. And I was like, I'm sorry, 10 in Arkansas? I mean, that's like huge.
Mm-hmm.
Huge. So, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how, I'd love to see it. But he said where he saw it at, he went and measured that area and he said 10 feet. So, well,
they travel about too. So, look at all the movement in Ohio right now. So,
everything. Well, when they had this happen in the 70s too, though, they had the major movement, the major sightings. But again, too, so I blame weather. So I look at the weather. The reason why I have the sightings right now in Ohio is because at the time of the sightings, the weather was amazing. People have been cooped up all winter long, and the sun comes out, and they want to get outside. I hear my dog barking inside the house. So the weather is amazing. People want to get involved. They want to get outdoors. They want to get, into it and everything like that, So, somebody knocked on my door. That's what it was. I'm in the garage. That's why my dog's freaking out.
I got cameras so I can see.
Here, mute me. I'm going to mute myself real quick and make sure everything's okay. Hang on a second. So you're going to take over for a minute.
All right. That was cool about his Burger King story. I thought that sounded familiar. I think I heard that on Sasquatch Chronicles because I listen to Sasquatch Chronicles all the time. So it was really cool. Thought it sounded familiar. I just didn't know he was the person that told that story on there. So that's really cool. And I don't know what happened to me earlier when I blipped out. I think I just lost internet, but glad Matt took over.
Sorry about that.
You all right? You all good?
Oh, yeah. He's in his crate. Yeah. I don't know. When we get done, I'll have to open the garage to see if somebody was here. I had to take a minute. When you have your dogs around for long enough, you kind of tell what means what. You know what I mean?
If I heard my dog bark, I would freak out because my dog is so quiet.
Oh, okay. So. Mine are vocal to a point, but they're vocal to let you know things like, hey, let me in. Hey, let me out. Hey, I'm hungry. Hey, somebody's at the door. And that was their stranger danger one.
Mm-hmm. So. We got cameras on our house, because we live in Dayton. So I can see if somebody comes to my door or anything because I have a monitor right next to me so I can watch the cameras because I'm in the basement. And my dog hardly ever barks. I don't know why. She's just quiet. She don't even bark to go out or anything. If you hear her bark, it's because it's probably not good. So if I heard her bark, I'd be going to look for real.
That's how I feel about Jack. But he was, first I thought he heard the dogs next door. And then I couldn't hear them at all. And then I'm like, okay, there's something else to this. All right. And then there's some more. Okay, somebody came to the door. So I heard a vehicle running too. Because I'm in my garage and the door's closed because, it was 50 degrees earlier. They had the doors off and driving in the rain. And let's see here. Now the temperature, according to all of our smart things, is still 50 degrees, but it's not raining anymore, which is nice. But it's going to warm up. We got a warm trend coming in.
I think it's 47 here. When I got home Sunday evening, it was 84 here. And then a storm came through and then it went all the way down to like 30 something degrees. I was like, oh, come on. Ohio's terrible about it.
Arkansas, this time of year, one day you could be, shorts and flip flops, and the next day you got to be wearing coats.
Same thing here in Ohio. So I'm going back to the LBL next month, but I think I'm going to start looking around here because I had no idea there were like dogman sightings around here. I've never looked them up, but apparently my little area where I go hiking is a hot spot.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is you can do, I tell everybody this. I mean, you've got forests around you, you don't have, go do the research in there. I mean, go where you're hiking. I mean, you had something happen to you. So, take a buddy, make sure you let somebody know, and that reminds me. So like we have a 401 case that took place in the area that I was at this weekend. And they were, we were all talking about discussing it. And it was a guy who came out there and wanted to go back and didn't tell anybody. And he's gone. They found his razor at the bottom of a hill all smashed up, nothing taken out of it.
Oh, wow.
They found his shoes in the river, never found his body, they found a shirt. They found a shirt, but nothing of him at all.
That's sad.
So you never ever, like, the other area that we're in Bald Knob, we have a 401 case at the property just north of that one. And Chris, the investigator, was there that day. He said he followed him in. They go hunting that morning, and he saw the guy pull off, and he went further down into his property, on the family property. And when he left that day, the guy's truck was still there. So the next morning when he was coming back, the guy's truck was still there. And he's like, man, he goes, it stood out to me because there's no way he beat me here. It's like 4:30 in the morning. There's no way he beat me here. And so the truck was still there. So finally the kid's mom, I went looking and everything was there except for the kid. When I say kid, I mean like, young adult. So I'm not talking like a 10-year-old, but so.
Yeah, there's something to the missing 411. I got that map hanging up right above my head, actually. But I would never go in the woods by myself, ever. I don't care if it's 10 foot in the tree line. I'm not doing it. He's got a thing about his no point of separation. Yeah, I practice that. I'm not going anywhere by myself. I don't care. No. Even if I got to pee in the woods, somebody's going with me because I'm not going anywhere by myself. People come up missing like that.
Yeah, I mean, people disappear within 10 feet of their camp. Or 10 feet of other people. So, like the rules I have when I go out are real simple. One, stay together as a group. So if people can start with me, one, we stay together. Two, well, no, actually, one is we don't fake anything. You're not going to throw rocks and try and get, ooh, look, don't fake anything at all. I mean, I'm out here to do legitimate, honest, full-blown research. If we go out and get nothing for the day, we got nothing for the day. And I have no problem coming back going, we saw nothing. There's nothing. Doesn't mean there's nothing there. Just happens to be there's nothing there at that time. Right. So, and that's what I tell people when I go investigate the property. Like, hey, just because I'm not seeing it, I didn't see it or deal with what you dealt with, doesn't mean that it's not a real phenomenon. I will come back. So, the other thing is stay together and don't run. Whatever you do, don't run. Because there is a cool thing, a predator-prey instinct that we all have. And by running, you could trigger some things because there's other things in the woods. So if you get scared and it's a black bear and you go to run, you became prey.
Yes, you did.
And you separate yourself from the herd, you now become bigger prey, easy prey than if we sit together. So that's why I share this with you. So Jacob, I love Jacob. Jacob was a great guy. He's like the little brother I never had or wanted. and I'm stuck with him, and I'm proud to be stuck with him, to be honest with you. He's my go-to. I mean, if I call him up and say, hey, all right, we got an investigation, or hey, they want to go do this, or hey, people, and he's like, all right, what day? All right, okay, all right. When do I need to be there? Are you driving or am I driving? That kind of thing, So, took him up there, for last year, first time. We got growled at at the first location. I just showed the grass huts and stuff. And I put the video, how quiet it was going back when we heard the word noise. And so we got growled at. We found the knuckle track. We found some other pathway. It looked like one spot where they had made stuff like into a little hidey hole in the bushes and was eating berries, because there's little pieces of berries all over this place. I was just picking berries and snacking on them. So that evening, we were going to get ready to go out, and Jacob, he was like, so why don't they move? I'm like, well, they live here. We're here to help them validate, what they're dealing with. And he goes, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do if we see something. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, I'm kind of scared. And I was like, cool. And this is my respect level for Jacob went through the roof. Just him coming out and admitting that to me said so much. Not like, here's my man card, check me out. Oh, I'm big and tough. Little Jimmy going, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I told him, I said, don't run. If you're uncomfortable, grab me, stay with me. Fast forward. But so actually that night we got huffed at, which was really cool. It was a really cool, kind of a huff. It was neat. So this weekend we, had the pond with the frogs got quiet and everything. And we go up on this other ridge, and I'm in front, and I'm slowly walking down, and it was really dark. It's dark again, and I have a flashlight, but I haven't turned it on. I got my red lamp on. I'm in total blackness. Using, what little light, starlight to, and it was just a crescent moon. So we had a little bit of light. I kind of go down this trail, and I kept stopping because I kept feeling like something was right there. Something was moving. Something was like, I kept waiting for something to jump out. And Jacob walked up behind me and he goes, I don't like this. And I went, me neither. And he goes, we can turn back. And I went, but we're not.
Oh, no.
So, and so I said, we're not. I got that. Okay, I get your six. I'm here. I'm nervous. I'm apprehensive, but I'm here. So, yep. And then about 10 minutes later, the whole area lifted. It was crazy. There was no more goosebumps, no more feeling of apprehension, no more feeling of being washed, nothing. It was just like a normal night in the woods. And I went, okay, it's gone. Whatever was here is gone. All right, let's go back.
That's so weird that there's always a feeling to it. And I've tried to explain that in my encounters. I'm like, it was a feeling to it. It wasn't just something you saw or whatever. There's a vibe to it. And most of the time, it's not good. It's kind of creepy, really.
Well, I think it's because of the fact of the matter that at that moment in time, we are prey.
Mm-hmm.
We're not the biggest, baddest thing on the planet. People remember that. What makes us the biggest, baddest thing on the planet is we have technology and weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we depend upon. You strip that away, man by himself, without that right there, we're prey. We don't have the bodies to survive out in the woods. We don't have that at all. We can't go out there and survive in sub-0 degrees without building a structure and fire and heat.
Right.
We have to have clothing. We don't have fur. We don't have those layers of fat to keep us warm. We crack jokes about, yeah, look at my big old belly. It keeps me warm. No, you're going to freeze. I mean, you're going to bake and cook in the summer. We're not designed to handle these things. So we are the prey. We really are. These creatures out there, whether it be a bear or Bigfoot or Dogman or whatever, the Wendigo and the Lucis, I could go on and on and on. We're prey to them. So when that feeling comes in, I listen to it. I'm dumb. I told you I'm the first one to die in every movie because I'm going to keep going towards it.
Right.
But it's just, how it is.
I always get caught going, I didn't bring a big enough gun. I got the wrong gun. Because every time I get nervous and scared because I always have this problem with stuff charging through the woods that I can't see. I don't know what's up with that. But every time that happens, I'm like, oh my gosh, my gun's not big. I always feel like I'm just screwed. You know what I mean? I'm just like,
Yeah,
I don't even know.
I have not been bluff charged yet. I don't know how I'd react, and I'm honest. I don't know how I would react under a bluff charge. I probably would be the same way with you, going, okay, 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 okay. But I quit carrying in the woods. I really do because I got zapped one time carrying. I saw something I couldn't see what it was. I raised a rifle up, used a scope to look at it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Apparently, I took it as a threatening motion, and yeah, I got zapped, and I was sick for like 3 days, and horrible nightmares, and everything that went. Oh, yeah, it was yeah. So I quit carrying the woods because of that reason.
That stuff is no joke. Hit with infrasound. I'll tell you what, that is no joke. And this was in the daytime. And to be honest with you, I get mad at myself because my gun was in the truck. I just got out to look at something that she wanted to show me. And here comes some crashing in the woods behind us. And I get so mad at myself. I'm like, first of all, why did I just get out of this truck without my gun? Second of all, I don't even think my gun's big enough for whatever the hell that is coming. You know what I mean? But
I do.
that happens to me every time. And I got to quit doing that. Also, did you have a picture of that knuckle print?
I do. Let me get that pulled up. Let me get that one.
I want to see it.
Okay, let's see here. Is it in a prim?
It's rare to see those. I mean, I have a cast one behind me.
It was really unique to actually get it. Let's see here. Where's it at? Let's see here.
I got a cast of one I got from Cliff Barrickman at Salt Fork last year. I always go to the Salt Fork Bigfoot thing. It's the first weekend of May every year.
Oh, nice.
So I got a cast of one, but I want to see where somebody else got one.
So I did cast it. Where's it at? On here. Boom. Okay. Share.
Sorry. There we go.
Okay, let me go to the folder real quick. Okay, so we had just gotten growled at. And it was 2 growls. Now, the growls very easily could have been bobcat. During the daylight, it was about 11 o'clock. It was 11 o'clock in the morning. So very easy could have been a bobcat. I'm the first one to say that. Did I see a bobcat? No. Did I see Bigfoot? No. So something growled at me from the woods. We were walking around that stump. I pointed that out to you on the video. I just happened to look over at it. And for some reason, just walked over. And the words out of my mouth were, "You got to be kidding me." And I'll start zooming in. And you start seeing it right there. So there's one thing. You can see the one finger, how the fingers come this way.
Yep. It's hard to take pictures of them. They never show up good in pictures.
No, they don't. It makes me mad. So here's an angle of it. So you can see where the mud had been pushed up between the fingers.
Yep.
And you see a better size comparison this way. All right, let's see here. Okay, that was something that might have been a structure. I didn't know. See, because I got my hand by one. Let's see if
that's so funny.
Fine.
I have the same kind of pictures on my phone.
Yeah, this was weird. So our second time back up there, right in the same area, I found this on a branch for no reason at all whatsoever.
That is wild.
That's on the ground. Yeah. You have to be dexterity to do that. And that's just not, the wind's not going to do that for you.
No, you got hands.
Thought I had another. That's me, and there's Chris, and there's Dave. He was with Chum Spirits at the time. That's our night. That could have been a urine right here under the UV light. I thought I had one with my fingers right there with it. I do. I have one somewhere with my fingers above it. I don't know where it's at. It's on my phone still. But yeah, I have this cast. JD from Trim the Spirits did a 3D scan of the cast, and on the 3D scan, you can actually see the dermal ridges. The ridges, fingerprint ridges and everything on the thumb.
Mm-hmm.
Where the thumb would be at. So it looks like it has his hand almost like this, or kind of like this. But you can see the thumb where the left like fingerprint marks and stuff on there.
That's so cool that you found that.
Lucky. I'll be honest with you. I'm absolutely, that had nothing to do with any skill at all whatsoever. I just saw the stump and just walked on over to it.
That is so cool.
Like, no way. So
I got to go out. I got to go back hiking with new eyes. You know what I mean? I've never looked for anything. I've never looked for X's, structures. I've never looked for footprints. I've never done any of that until after that rock got thrown at me. And now that I found out that my little place is also has dogman activity, I'm going to have to go going back in there and I'm looking for stuff now. I'm not just walking through there hiking with my earbud in. I will have no earbuds. I'm going to look and listen and see what is going on for real. I just didn't know. But now I do. So I'm going to pay attention now.
That's a good idea. I mean, because when I go out, like I got Pinnacle Mountain near me, and I'll go and spend some time just hanging out at Pinnacle Mountain at their little visitor center. They got a cool little lake. It's just kind of nice to sit there and just kind of just be a little bit nature. But I'm in the habit now to where anywhere I go, it seems like I'm okay.
Yep.
Were there other structures? Are there tracks? I mean, always. It's like I can't stop. And I warn you people out there, when you start this game, it's really hard to stop because once it's like, I'm ready to go back. I want to hear the whoops again. I want to hear them. It was so cool. And, to hear these creatures talking to each other and just kind of whooping back and forth and being them. And for me, that's how I took it as. So I'm just sitting there by the fire like, it's Christmas morning and I just got the G.I. Joe aircraft carrier. So I did not get the aircraft carrier as a kid. I wanted it, Mom. Thanks. I still want it. But anyways, to me, that's what the feeling was like. And for other people, I understand what it scares them. And it creeps them out. And they get goosebumps. My little boy, whenever he hears a scare sound, he's like, those are scary. I don't like those. I don't like those. So I get that. And there's me on there going, do it again. But I'm the same way in a haunted house too, though. I'm like, oh, do it again. So,
well, I thought I would be scared if I heard something, and I wasn't. When I heard that Bigfoot yell, I was like, did you hear that? I said an F word, but I was like, Did you hear that? And we just stood there, and I didn't get scared or anything. I did get scared, however, when I heard whatever crashing through the woods where we stopped at, but that's only because there was a vibe to it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I kind of hightailed it back towards the truck where my gun was, but I didn't like that. Whatever that was. Yeah,
like last time I was up where we're going at next month again, my regular area on private property, they me and the property owner Ray, we got growled at, a month ago. It was it was a deep growl. I mean, it was a deep growl. And he's looking at me, and I went, look, it has to come through that thicket to get to us. We're fine. We're going to hear it. We have plenty of time. You have plenty of time to shoot it when it goes coming through. So don't stress it.
Right.
But that's how my mind works, though. I mean, I really firmly don't believe that these things are legitimately out there to harm us. I really don't think that. Again, of course, we do have the 401 cases, but what led to that encounter? You know what I mean? So I mean, something had to happen for them to disappear, for something of that nature for them to just go away. And that's something we don't know. So in our mindset, we automatically go, "Ooh, they're evil and mean. Look, they're taking people. They're doing what they do. They're they're a creature that's going to eat, it's going to sleep, it's going to poop, it's going to make other little creatures. That's what they do. That's what we do. And they're going to have feelings too. They're going to have emotions. I'll be honest with you. I do not want to catch one on having a bad day. I don't.
Me either.
And I'm sure they do. Of course, now we do have aggressive species out there as well. Like the alligator. Those things are aggressive as hell. Crocodiles and such. So when it comes to dogman too, I think too many accounts of them being aggressive out there in the woods. So
I'm just looking at this 411 map of all the missing people. How it is. It's got little tags where everybody's missing. And I'm just like, I don't think it's like, if you get abducted by a UFO, most of the time they put you back.
Yeah.
So
somewhere close by.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that those are not all like UFO abductions. Those are other things as well. Or maybe even people walking into portals. Who knows? But it's a lot of missing people. And, he does a new video every other day with at least 2 stories usually. So that's a lot of missing people. And people need to be careful. Don't go by yourself anywhere, please. Don't.
I agree. And let people know where you're going. And how long you expect to be. Like, when I travel, even though I have people with me, I have people here that know what's going on.
Exactly.
Like I got a message late Saturday if I got some good service, and a text came in from my mom asking about an office chair And then on Sunday, I text her back when we finally get on our way back. I said, "Hey, I'm on my way home. Sorry, I didn't have good signal." And she goes, "No, I'm 50. So remember, I'm 50." My mom goes, "Well, I was starting to get real worried if I wasn't about to hear anything. I was going to start."
Yep. But I was doing the same thing because there was no service where we were staying at. None. My phone said emergency calls only.
Yeah.
You know,
Same.
and every once in a while you'll hear notifications come through, but you still can't use your phone. So I was, letting people know here, like my best friend, "Hey, I'm at camp. This is where I'm at. This is where we're going," because there's no service sometimes. So yeah, that's a really good idea to do that.
Same thing. Yeah. So JD brought his Starlink, so we were able to connect to the internet at least. And I was able to get a few phone calls. But yeah, I was on social media. So I was posting pictures, what was going on, trying to update everything and let my family know, "Hey, I'm alive. I haven't been eaten yet. Here's some new pictures." So
I was texting my people too, like, "I'm good," but I gonna let you go because I know we could sit here and talk about this stuff all day long. And I know you're tired because I'm tired too.
Yep,
It
and I
does
got
take
to
a
go.
couple days.
Yep, I got to go meet with a business owner here soon to get ready to set up my festival. So I don't know when this airs or not, but I am doing my own Cryptid Fest on June 6th here in North Little Rock. I've got great speakers. I got Tony's come to speak. I got Michael Cook coming to speak. Miss Betsy coming. Justin and Jay. Those are my VIP speakers. I've got a VIP section where they get a meal. They get to meet, eat, and hang out with the speakers the night before, air conditioning, and of course it's free to the public to come and hang out. The VIPs you got to pay for, but there will be other speakers going on as well. So I encourage everybody, if you're in the North Little Rock area, in Arkansas area, on June 6th, come on out, come hang out at 600 North Broadway at Old Bart's. So
That sounds fun. And you want to tell everybody where you're located, for YouTube and all your social media?
Yeah, you guys, you can find me anywhere. Drunken Cryptids, hang on. Right there behind me. Yeah, I'm on YouTube. I'm on all your streaming services across the board. I do have some Facebook, obviously. We have an Instagram. Tommy runs that one. I run the I run the Facebook, and I run our TikTok, and I'm rarely on TikTok. That was my fault. I don't want to be a TikToker. So the only time I use for TikTok is to try and, meet people and try and, schedule, people, family cares that want to come talk about. That's the only reason why I pretty much use TikTok. Other than that, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Send me that information about Arkansas. I've never been there, but I would like to go. So
Definitely. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I'll send you the flyer and everything. It's a lot of fun. June 6th. It's going to be crazy and chaotic. And, the hotels around here are really, really reasonably priced, to be honest with you. And it's a lot of fun area to explore and check out as well, besides just the fest.
sounds fun. And you told them your email, right? Drunken Cryptids.
Oh, yeah. drunkencryptids@gmail.com. Yep.
Yep. If anybody needs to get a hold of him and share an encounter or anything. And yep. Thank you so much for coming on and taking over when my internet went out. I appreciate you. Thank you.
I kind of figured, well, I thought two things. Either one, you do what I do sometimes. If I'm in the mood and some emergency pops up, my screen goes black and I mute my microphone real quick, kind of scrambling to get it back up. So I just kind of going, all right, here we go. Hey, folks, how are you?
I'm so glad because my internet totally bit the dust and I had to reconnect and everything. So
I'm glad you got it back then.
I appreciate you and I'm glad you went on with the show. So thank you so much for that.
Yes, ma'am.
And thank you for your service too.
Yes, ma'am. It's been a pleasure coming on the show, and thank you for having me on, be able to talk about my program, my show, and share some of my encounters with you guys.
Of course. I appreciate it. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video, but thank you and have a good day for the rest of your day.